Hey everyone, today is Thursday, the 1st of October, 2020. This is the Gap episode 536. It's October. I'm Luke Lawrie. Joab Gilroy is here. I'm going to blast through today's episode because the basketball's on.
The basketball's on. And see, you can't see this if you're listening because it's an audio podcast. That makes sense. But I can see that Luke is wearing Lakers shirt because he's a giant dork. But I've reverted to the Heat. The Heat are the team that going into basketball. And I've got a decent Heat jacket. No, I'm fucking kidding. Lakers, baby. We're going to win. I reckon it's going to be 4-1, 5 games. In true Lakers style, they're going to lose this game today, and then the gentleman's sweep for the rest of it.
I think today's game will be the the sort of tone setter, or even if the Lakers do lose today's game, I don't think it's going to phase them. Like, they'll go back and they'll figure it out. But if they come out and smash them, I think this is it's done. It's not going to get anywhere. Whereas, I just don't see Miami being able to keep up at all.
The thing about Miami, right, is that Jimmy Butler has been kind of cruising.
Yeah, he was third, third to go to. Yeah,
but everyone always talks about playoff LeBron or finals LeBron, right? How he's got extra gears, right, and how he coasts a bit in the regular season, and then he'll lift his game over the course of the playoffs. But I don't think it's unique to him. I do think that Jimmy Butler has it in him to dig in and drag this Heat team. The problem I think the Heat has is if the Lakers win this first game, I think it's gonna be real tough to stop a sweep because they just don't have the experience to get through this. Obviously you got Haslam on the bench. I've seen some shots of him yelling at the players and stuff. They've got a bit of that's not the veterancy that I think they need. These guys, these Hero and Bam are super young. They're they just don't have I don't think they have the mentality that they'll require to come back from a loss. Initially,
I think the Lakers defense is just going to eat them. They're not going to know what to do. The only way I think if they're going to struggle is if they come out and Miami play really small, and then LA has to go small. Otherwise, you're just going to see the same thing happen with Denver, where they put fucking Dwight Howard on someone and that's it. It's done. Their big guy's just done.
Yeah.
Didn't Joker get fouled out in 2 games or something like that? Yeah.
2 quarters. Yeah. That's the thing, right? That's the thing that I think Miami are going to struggle to. I think they could probably take the series but it'll be some Warriors shit, right? If they're hitting everything from the outside, I think they can eat the Lakers alive.
Or if someone gets injured.
Well, that too.
Which is the other end of the Warriors side, where they get through the finals and everyone's injured.
If they're shooting from outside, the Lakers will be forced to match them shot for shot, and I think the Heat have better.
Well, we got Rondo.
I know. I'm not saying we don't have anything. Rondo. I'm just saying, the
Danny Green might show up.
If we're relying on Danny Green and Rondo to shoot threes for us, we might be in trouble. Otherwise, I think it's going to be a pretty short series.
Yeah, I just don't, unless something drastic happens. I don't see them winning.
Yep. No.
Anyway,
hey, at the start of this, you said a date. What date did you say? When is it? What's the date today?
It's the 30th of September here at the moment. But I usually change the dates around a little bit because depending on when we're recording.
It's time is a construct, and you can interpret it however you want.
Yeah, it's October. Sort of.
It's October.
By the time people hear this will be October.
Right. And can you stream Tenet?
I can.
How?
Illegally.
No, that doesn't count. Where are my fucking spaghetti Skittles, motherfucker? Where are
they're
they?
in the same place. They're probably in the same place where my 1 kilo burrito is, and my
don't start this shit, motherfucker.
And
Do
my
not start
bucket
this
of
shit.
ice cream, whatever it was.
It's horseshit. Okay, first of all, you owed me ice cream already, so that one's zeroed out. And I can't get you a fucking kilo burrito. That's why we changed to Skittles spaghetti. You have to eat the spaghetti. Eat the spaghetti. Eat the spaghetti.
Eat the spaghetti.
Next week, I want to see this fucking video. I want to see you eating spaghetti. Your wife doesn't have to eat it as well, but you better fucking eat some fucking spaghetti. I want to know, mostly I just want to know how you're going to make it. Like what option, what route do you go down to make spaghetti Skittles?
That's a surprise.
Yeah, well, I better fucking see the answer.
Yeah, when I get my burrito and my ice cream,
bullshit.
It's in the same. This is my 2015 ice cream.
Get the fuck out of here with this shit, okay? Eat the fucking spaghetti.
Yep,
unbelievable.
All right, let's go. Let's smash through this stuff. I wanted to kick off with the Xbox Series X previews have been going around. So we talked about.
Hold up.
What,
Mr. Host? I want you to commit here and now to eat the spaghetti.
We'll see. Yeah, I'll eat the spaghetti.
Don't say we'll see. Don't say we'll see. Eat the spaghetti this fucking week.
I'll eat the spaghetti when I get my burritos.
I will fucking mail you a fucking kilo burrito. I will fucking do it. It's going to be disgusting. But
by the time it gets here, it will be.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's going to take like 6 weeks. Yeah, at least 6 weeks. It's going to be revolting. You will have wrought it upon yourself. Eat the spaghetti. Eat the spaghetti. Yeah. Commit to it. Commit.
Yeah, it's coming. But I wasn't wrong. I can stream it. I can go rent a movie theater if I want to.
Nobody.
It's not my fault they're idiots and they don't know what they're doing.
Fucking... Unbelievable. Anyway, let's bust through this stuff. Go.
Yeah. Starting with Xbox Series X previews.
Say it properly.
Series
Xbox
Sex previews started going up. We talked about this last week that the consoles are in the hands of media in the US and parts of Europe. It looks like it seems like Australia's getting theirs pretty soon, but at this stage,
I believe they've arrived.
They've started to come through. Yeah. Okay. At this stage, we're seeing previews go up in terms of benchmarks for the hardware, things like that. In particular, the current generation games. So they're not looking at anything that's in the future, anything that's coming out like launch day. This is all like testing current games that you're able to play on the console now. So we're seeing a lot of benchmarks in terms of frame rates and speeds for loading games and that sort of stuff. What has sort of been your takeaway from what we're seeing at the moment? Because I think I was sort of on the fence of this is going to be one of the biggest like jumps of generational leaps we've seen in a long time due to that hard drive in particular.
Yeah.
Like, what are you sort of seeing from these at this stage?
I'm seeing a lot of like that appears to be the focus point, is the focal point for a lot of people doing their previews as well. They're really lasering in on the hard drive and its ability to load games faster. It's difficult for me to, I guess, contextualize these gains because on PC it is par for the course, right? Like this stuff is sort of just a little bit pedestrian at this point. You know, we're not seeing anything that we haven't seen before on PC. However, it is a huge deal on console, and I think one of the big things that they're doing is like highlighting how you can switch between a lot of games, and that's certainly something that we don't do on PC at all. I mean, Doesn't take all that long to boot into a game on PC once you've got it on your M2 drive or whatever. But like at the same time, you can't instantly switch between games.
So this is bringing up the menu, the Xbox interface in particular, and then going from like Sea of Thieves to Call of Duty, and then from Call of Duty to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and switching between those without having to like kill the application or anything. It's just kind of it's like a smart resume feature where it jumps you straight into the game. That's what you're talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. What interests me is the thing that I haven't seen them really dive into is the need for 2 of those 3 games to connect to authentication servers at startup, at launch. Those games will not let you play without authenticating on the server beforehand, and there's no way that they're going to, if you like, it seems fine when they do it over, in a quick, over the course of 5 minutes, switching from game to game to game to game. I think you could do 6 games on the Xbox.
Right.
Right. I don't know who the fuck is playing 6 different games all at once. I admire their lack of attention span, but nevertheless, like that, hugely impressive. But if you were to play 2 hours of Assassins and then your mate's like, oh, let's play some Warzone, right? And you're like, oh yeah, press the home button, switch into Warzone. You are not instantly playing Warzone, right? That's not happening because you still have that authentication process and they cannot speed that up. There's no way for them to bypass that shit. It's not like, I don't know, network technology is somehow changing. They're still bound by the same fucking network infrastructure because that's not the console. That is external. That is Activision's fucking many potato farms doing their best to fucking authenticate you. And then the same goes for Sea of Thieves. Like that is not at all a quick process. It takes some time. I don't know if it's sped up. It will be sped up because you are locked into an account on Xbox. That would be the only way that I think they could do it. But again, that requires, I could see that working for, Sea of Thieves in particular. But outside of that, I don't see how that would work for third-party games like Warzone or other multiplayer games that are coming out, Like,
so they've got, like, I haven't watched these videos, but like the website I'm looking at the moment is The Verge, and they've got games like Sea of Thieves and Destiny 2, No Man's Sky in this list, which are multiplayer games. Even Warzone is on here. So I don't know how, I haven't watched the videos, but I don't know how it's doing that, at least. Maybe I should have watched the video beforehand.
That's what they're doing it in, like, over the course of like 5 minutes, right? And I think that the authentication, it doesn't drop authentication that quickly. Right. But that's why I wonder. That's why my example uses playing Assassins for like 2 hours, right? Enough time for the authentication to end. And then, or I assume, right? Like they're not going to perpetually ping your machine to see if you're still connected or whatever. Or otherwise, what would be the point of the authentication in the first place? Yeah, they're like, I think they have to do it over enough time to log out and then need to log in again, right? On the server, on the master server. Like I think that is the test that I think the quick it's one of those situations that trips up previews all the time, right? Like fucking Anthem, right? The Anthem preview, right? The Anthem preview is a great example of, Anthem, flying around feels fucking awesome, and the missions seem pretty good, provided there's more to it than just those missions. Anthem's going to be awesome, right? And then it turns out there's not more to it than those missions, or there are more missions, but they're all exactly the same as that one. And you're like, all right, well, that is the problem, right? Like in the preview slice, in the preview environments, right? In the way that we tested it was always going to wind up working, right?
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. If you make a cup of tea, right, and you pour a bit of milk into it, and you drink it, and you're like, oh, well, tea's always hot, right? But if you wait 2 hours and tea goes cold, you're like, oh, okay. Maybe tea doesn't stay perpetually hot. Like it's one of those things that only occurs because of the context of the time frame that they're doing it in. I mean, that's my takeaway from these previews is that they will not persist over time. That they will have to re-authenticate, and I don't know how they get around that, or if they even try to. Right?
Well,
like
this article is saying those games that I listed before. What was it? Sea of Thieves, Warzone, Destiny. This article says that that feature just isn't supported for like multiplayer games, so it probably doesn't even have a save state, I guess.
Yeah. Right. Okay. I mean, just to get like, yeah. I haven't seen the article you're talking about, but I mean that makes sense, right? Like it just doesn't even do it. But like, isn't that a huge part of it? It's not like they're going to separate, assuming Halo actually was coming out on launch, assuming there were any launch games for the Xbox X. Like, what would you be doing then? I mean, even playing like Watch Dogs or Assassins is still going to want you to fucking log into the Uplay servers, right? It's not like Ubisoft didn't spend all this time creating a bloated fucking nightmare of a front end infrastructure just to piss it away at the start of the next generation.
Right.
These things are still going to happen, right? Like,
yeah.
It's still going to try to connect to the authentication servers. That's just what fucking video games do in 2020. Certainly it won't work for multiplayer, even though, some of those games are multiplayer only. I don't understand why they'd be in that particular list, and they were the ones that they were showcasing in the video I saw. So I don't understand, right? That particular phrase or that particular statement, I do not understand. But yeah, like from my perspective, it's that's the major hurdle. Outside of that, right, I feel like I'm going on about this one thing a bit too much, which I don't know. It doesn't, like, obviously most of what we play these days, I think, is multiplayer. I would say I mostly play multiplayer games, but it's still like hyper impressive technology. The idea that the smart resume, smart switching is super cool. It's just not unique to the Xbox. We're definitely about to see it on the fucking PlayStation. They need to use it in a more interesting way than save states, which have existed on emulators for decades.
Yeah.
I want to see them. I want to see something use it in a way that, I think PlayStation and Spider-Man are probably the first game that's going to really showcase it for the consumer, right? Because switching between, oh, look how fast I can switch, right? How do you fucking sell that to your fucking family? Oh, yeah, but I couldn't switch games like this on my old console. Yeah. Dad, we're going to get the Xbox X. It switches games faster. Like, who fucking cares, right? That doesn't move consoles, right? Yeah, you got to, but, oh, look how fast Spider-Man can swing, right? You can't swing this fast on fucking other consoles. That's something. Like, it's not great, but it's something. Yeah. And I guess the thing that they're lasering in on is graphics, but like they don't have the software to really push that shit yet. So I guess that's why they're focused on the hard drive situation.
Yeah. And the sort of performance of the backwards compatibility. Seeing like a lot of those older games running in higher frame rate and higher resolution is sort of like one of the things. I watched Digital Foundry did a big video on their stuff, but yeah, the loading times and the performance mode, is that what they're calling it? On these
Yeah.
new this new console is sort of the focus point of a lot of these previews at this stage. I'm sure there's like tiered embargoes that will be dropping over the next month. Like maybe it might be the case of one every week type thing. But yeah, I mean at this stage it looks pretty good. Like some of the loading times I saw were cut down in half or like more than half. The list here has the stuff here like Outer Worlds, which is loading in 6 seconds now compared to 27 seconds. Sea of Thieves, and some of this stuff is like first party apps as well, so it could be a bit quicker compared to some of the others that they could not be optimized at this stage. But Sea of Thieves was 20 seconds. Well, it's 20 seconds now. It used to be a minute and 20 seconds to load that game on an Xbox One, One X. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is 30 seconds now. It was a minute and 7 seconds. Red Dead Redemption 2 is still pretty chunky. It's 52 seconds. It was previously a minute 35. So I think there's some stuff here that could still be optimized a bit, but you're talking about like maybe 20 to 30 seconds to load into a game now that was taking a minute and a half to 2 minutes before. So, and then once you've got some of those save states in place, that like cuts that time down even more, especially for some of these single player games.
Yeah.
Which is cool. But
it's like the next generation of crazy Rockstar like open world games, I think is going to be a big deal. It's going to be massively impacted by this. Very excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some good stuff coming out of this, so I'm sure we'll get some more hands-on impressions soon with as we get closer and closer. But it's looking pretty good. It's the type of thing where, although like Xbox doesn't have much coming out in terms of the first party titles for that launch, like you've still got some big games coming out in the next 6 weeks, and being able to play those on that type of console with higher frame rates and a really good resolution, that sort of thing, it's going to definitely appeal to people that have been able to get one. Like your Assassin's Creed Valhalla, or Watch Dogs Legion, Cyberpunk. Like there's some big names there that are going to do really well on those consoles. So it's not like they don't have any games. It's just that they don't have any first party games. There's still stuff coming out, which is cool.
There's no launch exclusives.
Yeah. All right. What else can we talk about here? I don't have my list in front of me. No Man's Sky.
Yep.
We talked about this last week because they rolled out a new update. Was it 3.0?
Yeah, 3.0 Origins.
Right. And we talked about getting back into it. I said that I wouldn't play it unless you did. And then I started playing it anyway.
Yep.
It's not a big download. It's like 10 gig. So it didn't take long. And I think you were downloading it as well. Did you get a chance to jump in at all?
I did jump in. I've already uninstalled it again. I just like I get why people enjoy the game. I just find myself it's too aimless for me. Like I just don't see the point in anything that I'm doing. You get this ship to get a better ship to get a better ship to get a better ship, and then you're following some story, but I don't give a fuck about the story. You can build a base, but the entire game appears to be hinge off exploration and be like spending all your time in the forest.
Why would you build a base when you're gonna leave?
Exactly, right? Like, yeah, if you were to spend all your time chopping down trees and building a base in the forest, only to then never play the forest again afterwards, because you've effectively left that is, it's not just fucking like star systems away. It's not just millions and millions of kilometers away. It is literally a galaxy away, and the ability to get back to it is unfeasible. I mean, everything costs. There's so many little fucking currencies that you have to manage. You've got actual currency, and there's like two other currencies that I don't super understand. You've got fuel that you have to manage. You've got resources and all this kind of shit.
Yeah.
Like, ugh. But why? Why would I continue? I mean, it's pretty. It's very pretty. I mean, every time I load into it, it chunks like shit. But then once it's finished streaming,
yeah, runs better.
Yeah, it runs really well. I got to like fly my little spaceship through a meteor shower. That was really cool. And apparently I loaded in and I had like fucking 12 million bucks or something. So I must have done something right at the end of my last session. But I also had no idea what the fuck I was supposed to be doing. I didn't have enough fuel to. I think I didn't have enough fuel to take off initially, so I had to go get fucking jump fuel or something.
Yeah.
I think that's why I stopped playing the previous time. Like I'm like, oh, I don't have enough fucking fuel to take. Fuck this shit. Uninstall, and then so I went and got the fuel and flew through a fucking meteor shower, and I had a fuck ton of money and didn't really know what to do with it. There's two other currencies I don't know what to do with. Didn't have enough fuel to hyperspace jump, and so I sort of flew to these planets that are around me. I didn't have a desert planet in my immediate vicinity, so I'm like, well, there's no way I'm going to get to see a sandworm, so I guess I'll just fucking stop playing. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
I stopped playing. Yeah. I don't know. It's a gorgeous game, and I think ultimately it is not served well by the release platform, the giant updates. So when you come back to the game, you got to work out how the fuck to do anything again, all over again. Like,
and you're probably not going to see any of this stuff anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, the odds of you seeing anything actually super cool are minuscule because there are a billion stars in the sky, and only a small percentage of them have anything actually cool surrounding them. What'd you get up to?
So yeah, I did install it and I jumped in. First of all, that game still does not alt tab properly. After all of these,
no, it doesn't.
Like mine just literally stops working. Like you can, it sort of like freezes, but you can still hear yourself moving around in the background. I looked on all forums. People were suggesting to try all these different things. It worked for some people, others it didn't. It didn't work for me. And these are threads that are years old now at this stage. So I must have had to force my game to shut down about 7 or 8 times because I tried to fix it for about half an hour, couldn't do it, and then every time that I was in there and I would forget, I would just alt tab because I want to put a different podcast on or like do something. So yeah, it doesn't alt tab very well. And then I spent a couple hours in there sort of playing again. I think the problem is that we've played a lot of survival games on. Yeah. We've talked about a lot of them on here, and I feel like there's a lot of games we've talked about that do it like design wise have just better systems and are implemented a lot better. The one thing that I still do not fundamentally understand is why when you start the game you are immediately dying. That just doesn't.
It is.
That is not a good, fun experience for someone. Like I've talked about this before. Like when you start that game as a fresh character, you are generally on a planet, and the chances of you being on a planet that has some sort of hazard on it, whether it's heat or acid rain or cold, you're immediately dying, and you're put under this pressure to try and resolve that. But at the same time, the game as a tutorial is being like, hey, go collect this thing over here. And you're like, yeah, but I'm fucking dying. Like, I don't have time to do that. Eventually, it like teaches you that, oh, you use this to up your defenses, and that'll stop you from, you'll still be taking damage, but you'll up that resistance on the suit. So eventually, if you do drop your resistance too low, then you'll start actually dying. But like your health will start decreasing. But you're still seeing a meter on your screen that is dropping, and it's being flashing on the screen saying like you're taking damage, or you need to, toxicity levels 50%. And then it gets to a point where, like the first one I was on, I think it was an acid planet, and my vision was like impaired. Like I couldn't see around me because it was all green once it dropped to a certain threshold, and so now I couldn't see anything. Like it was just, so I ended up quitting that game and starting again. I got an ice planet after that.
Yep.
That's just not a good user experience or player experience to immediately have a player dying the moment they start a game. So anyway, I eventually got myself out of that situation, built my ship and all that fun stuff. Went to another planet, landed on that planet, did the whole like base building tutorial. It seems to be a bit more fleshed out, that base building stuff. But again, like I just don't understand why I'm building any of this stuff here. The teleporters are something I haven't seen before, but I don't know why I'm building teleporters. And then just the whole like the thing you were talking about of needing fuel, like me just landing on my ship, taking off, flying a couple hundred, I think it's units, I don't know what measurement it is, but it's not far, and then being out of fuel again, and then having to do, like, it's just so tedious and unrewarding, and it's not fun. Like the game is about exploration and crafting and doing all these things, and then so you're shooting things with this laser gun, this harvesting mineral gun, but these sentinels show up once you start harvesting too much. They're like the space police. And so now all of a sudden you're stopping me from doing the core fundamental part of the game, which is collecting resources.
Yeah.
That's not fun. Like every time you try and do something in this game, it's like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. That's no fun. So I just don't understand.
There are roadblocks all over the fucking place.
Yeah. That like it just doesn't make sense to me why these things are in there at this stage of the game. Absolutely, like that is something you probably roll out later on, like as you try and make the game harder for players. But at the start, when people are trying to just explore and get a feel for the game and sort of get an idea of what the mechanics are about, by punishing them like every step of the way just doesn't make any sense to me as a player.
The weird thing is that like No Man's Sky does gate you as well. Like you can't go to like I think it's a purple star without like an iridium drive or something. So it's not like there aren't like larger gates. Why doesn't it restrict the insanity until like why not have every star has some sort of fucking drive requirement, right? And until you leave yellow stars, right, you won't experience the fucking nightmare that is, getting chased by fucking killer robots because you happen to mine too much coal or some shit, too much sodium or something. Like, just do it that way, as opposed to the fucking. Oh yeah, well, you're freezing to death. There's acid rain, and
there's a robot chasing you because you're trying to build resistance
out of fuel,
up.
and because you dared to attempt to mine some fuel. Now a robot is going to murder you. Like, could this not be the fucking like? I understand that it's supposed to be super random, right? Everything's procedurally generated, and where you start off is random, but I mean, we talk about true randomness a lot on this podcast, I think, and how in game design, true randomness is almost always a bad thing. Outside of a competitive environment, where true randomness, I think, is generally the only way to go. Even then, a lot of the time, it has to be weighted randomness, or else, like, yeah, true randomness just never fucking works, in my opinion. And No Man's Sky is 100% true random in almost every facet. I mean, I'm sure people who play the fuck out of it will disagree, right?
Sure, yeah.
And they've probably seen through the randomness to the other side, and they can see the weighting if there is any. But yeah, my initial experience is always there's too much fucking RNG in this for this to be an enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
There are too many currencies for me to manage. Yeah, I just don't care anymore.
And we're at a stage now, like I said, where we've played a lot more of these types of survival games that I think they've done a better job elsewhere of incorporating a bunch of these elements. And
and holding down E to do anything. Hold like mouse over this and press the button for a sec. Oh my fucking god. Can I just click on some shit? Could I just press a button? Like just tap it as opposed to having to fucking hold everything? I didn't fucking it. Even if I fat fingered my way to fucking a mistake, right? That's on me. Just let me make the fucking mistake, right? Why is this game so desperate to fucking kill me in every fucking turn, and then it won't allow me to fucking kill myself by, I don't know, talking to a guy in by pressing a button for a microsecond as opposed to holding it down for a full fucking second every time. That drives me fucking bananas. That was like step one. I'm like, oh, right. I don't think I'm going to be able to persist with this game for very long. I believe last time I played, I got a mod. I got a mod that made button presses quicker, but none of the mods. Apparently, the update broke every single mod out there. So,
right,
yeah, I couldn't find a mod that was working to do that. But holy shit, I hate holding the other button. Hate it.
Yep.
Drives me bananas. Anyway.
Yeah, so I just didn't have a good time at all when I was playing this.
Ditto.
Like, I just felt like that the stuff the game was offering to me was just, I've seen it done better elsewhere, and it just wasn't a good experience for me. Like, I know back when this first came out, I was much higher on this game, but now having gone back and seen it and just being like, these systems have been done so much better in other games that we've played, and I just haven't seen really them progress any of that stuff or try and make it better. Like, there's definitely stuff in there they've added extra features and cleaned up UI elements and that sort of stuff, but the core gameplay loop to me just doesn't seem engaging for a new player, or someone jumping in and is like, oh, I want to see what this is all about. Like, I don't feel that need to keep playing, where you talk about games like The Forest or Satisfactory or something like that, where you start getting these things in like Satisfactory and you're like, oh, but you know, I build this, and you sort of see stuff that's happening and where like that's going to take you. Like, when you build something, you're like, oh, once I build a bunch of this stuff, then I'm going to be able to do this other thing, and that's really cool, and that'll make me do this quicker and that sort of thing. Whereas in No Man's Sky, I'm like, it's like build a house, and I'm like, okay, why? But like, what is that going to do? All right, it's going to stop me from getting damage, and then what? Like, I'm literally leaving this planet. You're telling me to go somewhere else. So what is the point? And it's like, build a research station, and then build a teleporter, and then build this other like I'm like, why am I building this stuff? There's no point. Like, you're literally telling me to leave now. I'm going
Yep.
somewhere else. So it just doesn't like. And once you start doing that, you're taking away the reason that I should be playing this game, and like the sense of progression just gone. I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
understand why I should be building any of this stuff. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So
Yep.
I didn't have fun at all.
No.
I was close to thinking about putting it on VR, but it's still pretty hot over here, and I'd rather play Beat Saber, which I was doing some stages. Like,
Yeah.
I'd rather have fun and be hot
Yeah.
and sweaty
Yep.
as opposed to not having fun and still being hot and sweaty.
Yeah. Fair.
All right, next up, checked out Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 plus 2.
Yep.
You talked about this a couple weeks ago, and I have had a lot of fun with it. I finished it, I think, at this stage. Like, apart from me going in and 100%ing this game, like, I've unlocked all the maps, and except for the secret maps. But that game is really good. Like, that's a excellent way of making a remastered version of a game, or a remake. I think it's remastered. Like,
Yeah.
you play that game, you're like, oh, this is like exactly how I remember it to be. Like, they didn't change anything, and you go back and look at what that game used to look like, and it's a huge difference. You're like, it's funny how like the mind plays sort of tricks on you like that. So, yeah, it's an excellent remaster. It's not expensive either. You're basically getting two games. I think Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 is not as good as the first one.
Yep.
To me, that seemed just more like a map pack, I guess. And even looking at this game, sort of shows that off even more. I think they're only released a year apart from each other. So it
Yep.
was pretty much just new maps. And I don't think the maps are anywhere near as good anyway as that first game. Every map
None as iconic. Yeah.
Yeah, every map in Tony Hawk Pro Skater is like, yeah, as you said, iconic. Like, I remember those maps. I remember those parks and where things are and secret areas and things you needed to do to complete a challenge and that sort of stuff. Whereas you fire up 2, you're like, I vaguely remember this. Like, I definitely spent a lot more time playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1. So yeah, it just sort of sticks into you, like, how good that game actually was, and I think it still holds up. Like, it holds up really well. If they were to turn around in 2 years and bring out another Tony Hawk Pro Skater game, I wouldn't be upset. Like, I think that'd be interesting to sort of see where that series can go now, because it's obviously been in the gutter for quite a while, and every time they kind of bring something new out, it's like, oh, why are you doing this? But this seems like a really good sort of reintroduction to that series. And if they're going to put as much sort of care and effort into a new game as what they did with that one, then oh yeah, I'm all for it. Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, I think you should check out Pretending to be Superman, the documentary.
It's on my watch list. Yeah.
Yeah. Give it a watch. It's there's some insight into at least like the old school games. Nothing about the remake, but yeah, into the old school games, and it's a cool little trip down memory lane. From that point of view, you should definitely check it out. It taps into the same vibe as playing the good maps on THPS 1 and 2.
Yeah, and even the music, like a lot of the soundtracks you sort of remember, and just like the moves, like remembering how to do certain moves, and like I said, just the way the game gives you challenges to do, and you kind of just, there's a part of your brain you're like, oh, I remember how to do this, or where this thing was, like this hidden area, or it's just strange that happens. Whereas Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 just is not really as ingrained in my mind as the first one. It's pretty forgettable. Although, I feel like,
isn't Guerrilla Radio from 2, not 1?
Is it? Yeah, maybe.
Is it?
I'm not.
Sure. Hey, can I say something that is going to upset people?
Sure.
It's definitely going to upset people. Yeah, no, Guerrilla Radio was THPS2, and so was Power Man 5000 when Worlds Collide.
Mm-hmm.
That's all fucking rules. Yeah, no, I not only do I not like Superman, everyone's favorite song from fucking Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Mm-hmm.
Not only do I not like that song, I don't like any ska music. I fucking hate ska music. Oh my god, I hate it. Why do we have to keep listening to some fucking trombones and shit? God damn. It is the worst music. It is the worst music of all time. Okay? I said it. Right? Bye. It's been a nice podcast. Obviously, I have to throw myself into the sea now, right? But this is like that fucking, I don't know if you've watched much Mitchell and Webb Look. There's an episode where they do like a parody of, it's a skit show with David Mitchell and Robert Webb. And they do a skit where there's this like they're on a house hunting show, one of those house hunting shows, and they go into the bathroom, and the bathtub is like this ugly brownish green, and they're like, oh yeah, the bathroom's a bit small, and the host is like, do you want to try that again and talk about what's really wrong with the bathroom? And like, I don't, what's wrong with it? I'm like, the bathtub is avocado, you cunts. And then he goes in on how every bathtub should be white, and the wife is like, I actually like a green bathtub, and the husband has to murder her because you have to hate green bathtubs, right? The reverse of ska music. I hate ska music, but now that I've said it out loud, I know that I have to go away. There must be an island for people like me who hate ska music, because evidently either that or collectively I'm just the brave man who's finally said what everyone's thinking. I don't know if that's the case, but yeah, Superman is the worst song on that soundtrack, and all ska music can fuck off, in my opinion. I just hate it. Oh, in basketball, right? Fucking beep, 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 like, shut. That's the worst thing about basketball as well, ska music, right? Like, it was just that time. There was an era in time when everyone was listening to ska music, and I could never work out. It's like how people ironically loved the prequels, the Star Wars prequels, and now people have convinced themselves that they actually love the Star Wars prequels, even though they are garbage. I saw someone made a recut. I was searching for recuts of the fucking prequel trilogy so I could rewatch it without wanting to fucking kill myself. And like, the fucking people have recut the Phantom Menace. There's a fucking 3.5-hour version of the Phantom Menace. The Phantom Menace is already 2 hours too long, right? The recut I was looking for is the one where they have a single scene from the Phantom Menace, and it is the Duel of the Fates. Like, it's that fucking, it's that scene, and that's it. And yeah, the rest of it is gone, right? That is, but no, there's a fucking 3.5-hour long version of it now. People are like, I love the Phantom. Give me more. Smack it into my fucking veins. I love me some Phantom Menace. And you're like, what is wrong with you? And then they go and play fucking ska music 100% of the time. It drives me bananas. Anyway,
is that what the extra hour is in the 3-hour recut? It's just a dude.
It's Goldfinger, like, fucking in space costumes, fucking like they fucking shitting it up in the fucking cantina. Anyway. Yeah, that conversation got away from me a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's do some of my games now,
okay,
as opposed to doing the thing where we just go through all your games all at once, and then you're like, oh, Joe played some games as well. Let's talk about those once. Noita. I think it's pronounced Noita. I think, I'm not sure. Is a oh man, I have such a fucking weird relationship with this game. It's a roguelike game where you die a fucking lot for reasons you don't really understand. It's sort of like side scrolling. It reminds me a lot of Risk of Rain 1. Yeah, side scrolling dungeon crawler, or maybe a little bit a Terraria type thing, where you start out on this overworld and then you dive down into this cave and you go deeper and deeper, and as you go deeper, you sort of learn more about the game world and the way everything works. The initial appeal of Noita is it's got like this really cool fluid system, and like fluids play a large role in how everything works. You get like drenched in certain fluids, and you've got to manage that shit, and like that has a huge impact on your success. And so you might see like there'll be a pool of oil or something, and if you get covered in the oil, then you'll slide everywhere and you can't really stop. But also, if you catch on fire, you'll burn really fast and die. And there's lanterns throughout these caves, so you can actually drop a lantern into the oil and start and burn away all the oil. And that creates smoke, and if the smoke like fills an area, then you will be starved of oxygen and you will die.
Right.
Or if you dive too deep into the oil, you'll be starved of oxygen. You'll drown in oil. The same goes for like blood. There can be like shit tons of blood. Or sand sort of trickles a little bit differently, but it does trickle. Is gunpowder and coal and acid and toxic sludge and slime and all this kind of shit. Water as well. And you've got to work out the different ways to navigate these. They're challenges, they're obstacles. And at the same time, you've got this wand. You got one wand that zaps things, and another one that like throws bombs. And yeah, that's basically it. You've got some stuff, and you go from there. But you die a lot, like a fucking ton, like over and over, and you either won't know why, or you know exactly why, and you also knew that you could do nothing to stop it from happening. And yeah, I think it has. The word I would use to describe Noita is obtuse. It is deliberately difficult to understand, and I don't agree with that concept from a design point of view. I believe that they've done it because the learning process is fundamental to the game experience. Like people want to gradually learn all the different things that are going on, but there's already a fucking ton that you need to learn in Noita. And then it adds on your main path of progression are these wands, which you can upgrade, and upgrading a wand is difficult. It's a challenge in and of itself, because knowing how it fucking works. Each wand has, I think it's like 8 different stats, and all of these stats affect what the wand does. They've got a variety of slots. They can cast a different number of spells at a time. So you've got like, I've got a wand that casts one spell, but I've got like 4 spells in its slots. So when I cast it, it will cast left to right. And so I didn't know this. I thought it worked slightly differently. But I learned this by exploiting myself. I put a modifier, like you've got spell modifiers, right? You've got things that cast, like I had a wand that did gigantic explosion on slimy enemies. But unfortunately for me, it like would only cast if I put it on this specific wand that had enough mana to cast it. It cost 200 mana to cast, but it also had to cast these other things to slime up enemies. So I needed like I needed, I think, 300 mana to be able to cast anything, but it also had to be able to cast 3 spells at once because I needed the slimy fucking spells to cast it, and it needed to be not shuffle. Some fucking ones just shuffle spells for no fucking reason. Why does that exist? You only work that out when you know what to look for. When you go, why the fuck does this? Like, I thought I've spent I've apparently played it for 6 hours. I've literally spent at least a sixth of that time watching fucking videos on how to craft spells, because you get out of the first area and it's like, you could craft spells here, and you're like, what the fuck does that mean? You look into it and it's incomprehensible. You can't fucking, but like everyone who explains it has, like, nobody's making videos about this game if they haven't already fucking finished the game because they're not in love with it. Everyone who's fucking explaining it, like, they're eons past this shit. It'd be like fucking, I don't know, it'd be like LeBron James trying to fucking tell you how to fucking play basketball and starting off with, well, when when I'm in the pick and roll, and you're like, what the fuck is a pick and roll? I don't understand what's a basket. I'm asking what this big fucking orange thing is. You're trying to tell me about that doesn't make any sense to me. Can we start a little bit fucking smaller here? But nobody ever fucking does.
And then
they're always like, yeah, of course he does. Like, yeah, they're always like, well, yeah, obviously you've got your 8 fucking stats on a wand, and all you need to do is check this and this and this, and then you put it together with this wand, and this is a great wand. Look at this spell, and everything fucking dies. And I'm sitting here like, is this stick a wand? Like, I don't fucking know anything. I'm fucking all the way back here. You're trying to tell me how to fucking, like, wrap this shit up, and it's a beginner's guide. Like, that shit's insane. So I keep going back to this game almost for sunk cost reasons at this point. Almost because I've invested a fucking hour watching cunts try to explain to me how to fucking make a spell, and I'm like, okay, I definitely, if I ever live through the fucking first 4 minutes of this game, I am gonna make the best fucking wand ever. I guarantee it. But I can't live through the first 4 fucking minutes of this game because I don't know how anything fucking works. You run up like, fucking hell, it is insanity. It is just, yeah, crazy how it works. Like, because it's obtuse. It is like, even when you find, like, even now that I know how to make a wand that works, right? And I can actually, I made it down to the 4th level, and apparently for a lot of people, the 3rd is the break point. I made it past there. I have, I think, decent understanding of how the game works. I died in the 4th level to a trap that honestly I probably should have seen coming. It's a game where you have to, like, you don't move anywhere quickly. Even when you're being pursued by a billion things, you still take it really slow because you're moments away from walking into the worst shit, to something that's just going to fuck your day up. And in this case, when I got down to the 4th level, I think they can do it before this, but in this case, some of the humanoid enemies grabbed a fucking nearby wand and started casting that shit. And it caused a fucking earthquake. And so the cavern was falling. And so in that situation, even then, I probably should have gone slower than I did, but I was trying to get out of the way of, a collapsing fucking cavern. And I threw myself into a trap. There was a pool of oil, and it happened to have an igniter that would light itself up the moment I hit the oil, unfortunately, and that's what happens. And I burned alive. I burned to death. Like that said, I think I could get back down there, right? I'm pretty sure I could make my way back down to the 4th level again. I feel like I've got enough of an understanding now of how the game works, but I still get every time you get to the end of a level, like it's sort of separated. I believe they're not as separated as they appear, but you sort of get teleported to this holy mountain, which is where you can fucking modify your wands, and that's how you build wands and stuff. When you go there, you get the option to buy a bunch of wands, and these wands usually have spells. But you can't tell how any of these spells fucking work until I can't tell how any of them work until they're in my fucking inventory. Like there's this layer, like it's just an icon. It just shows you an icon for a spell, and it shouldn't be. I should be able to fucking read everything. It should tell me if you buy this, you've got 3 uses of this wand, and that's it. Like this spell only works 3 times, but I don't know that until I spend all my fucking gold on this fucking thing. And I'm like, oh, that seems really powerful. And then I buy it, and it's like, well, yeah, it is really powerful. And if you use it 4 times, it's fucking done. Like, I can't tell that until I've fucking done it, right? Basically, one of those games where you have to sit there with a fucking walkthrough or like a wiki open directly next to you, not to tell you where to go next, but to literally so you can search for a fucking icon to work out what a fucking spell, how you're going to get fucked buying this next spell or whatever the fuck. Like it's just obtuse. It's just deliberately fucking obscure, and it doesn't need to be. There's no reason for it to be, and it pisses me off. They should do something about that before, like as soon as fucking possible, because that is the biggest hurdle to playing this game. Is constantly, even when I think I've learned something, I'm not even close to having learned enough.
It seems like that is too late at this stage, though. It's because it's an early access game, right? But it's out in 2 weeks. It's not. This isn't stuff you're talking about where like, oh, it's an early access game. Maybe they'll get to it eventually, or the tutorial's not in there yet, or something like that. But it's out in 2 weeks. Like it's hitting 1.0 soon. That this stuff should already be in there at this stage. You'd think.
It's one of those games where I think their rabid fan base has already put in the work.
Yeah, they've made the tutorial. It's just online somewhere.
Exactly. And even finding that is a pain in the fucking crotch. Like, it's just, I think there is a good game in there. I really, really like the fluid stuff and the way particles interact with one another and all that kind of stuff. And there's promise in the wand idea and the spells and the way the spells combine and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
But it is so fucking obscure in how you get to the holy mountain where you can build wands, and it's like, you can build wands here. I'm like, why? Like, you never explained why I would want to do that. So why are you telling me I can do this here? Like, what does that bring to the table? Then you're constantly trying to work out whether or not you should, what spell you're gonna you find wands around the place, and you're like, I don't know if I should swap my wand out for this. And at the same, the whole time you're being fucking chased by some fucking acid spitting balloon, and you're like, well, I gotta make a quick decision because I gotta fucking do something about this acid spitting balloon, and then it doesn't matter because the acid spitting balloon killed you, or it accidentally hit a barrel next to you and the barrel exploded and you died, or you got knocked off a fucking edge and fell into some polymorph liquid, and the polymorph liquid turned you into I think it was like a sheep with wings that spat fire or something, and the fire ignited something, and I burned to death. Or I've died in so many different ways, and yeah, I feel like too many of them aren't learning experiences because there's not something tangible that I can take away. I don't have a good enough grasp on what happened to actually learn from the experience. It like, yeah, it's not like I didn't die at random. There's definitely cause and effect, and I can link those things together, but I can't articulate what those connections are, and so there's no meaning in the death for me. And I think that's a huge mistake. And yeah, like you said, it's coming out in 2 weeks. If they were going to, if they had any intention of making it less obscure, less obtuse, then there'd be evidence of it in the game already, I think. And I don't see that there. I will continue to play it probably because I am sick in the head or something. I don't know. But yeah, like
yeah.
I don't know that I'd recommend it. Yeah.
Fair enough. Speaking of those types of games, seems like a good segue to talk about Spelunky too. Because it's very, I don't know, it's got some similar sort of elements that you're talking about. Roguelike game, a lot of exploration, dying a lot. I never played the first game at all, but I heard a lot of good things about it. And then I heard a lot of good things about the sequel as well, leading up to its release. It's been in early access, I think, for a little bit as well. But all the reviews that came out about a week and a half ago were extremely high praise for this game. So it's definitely on my list of things to check out. And I like these types of games, the roguelike games where you explore dungeons or areas and you level up your character, and that's sort of Dead Cells or Hades again we were talking about last week. There's a bunch on there. Like what was the other one we played recently? Rogue Legacy.
Yeah.
Rogue Legacy 2. Like definitely a fan of that genre of game. This one in particular is like you're spelunking and going through cave systems and avoiding enemies, and it's very brutal. Like you're dying all of the time. It's just basically everywhere you step, there's some sort of trap or some animal trying to kill you, or you falling off a cliff, or you throwing a bomb to try and explode part of the map, but it backfiring and landing on you and killing yourself. Like it's just the game is about you sort of learning your environment and what things can hurt you and how they hurt you, and then trying to solve that as a puzzle. I've played it for about an hour so far, and I don't really get it at this stage. Like it's not jamming with me. And I don't know why. I don't know why. Like, am I missing something?
Yeah.
Or it's just not clicking with me. I just don't get the appeal of this game yet. And I'm sort of running low on, I don't know, not patience is the good word, but like how much time do I give this game before I'm like, oh, I get it. This is fun. Like, I understand I'm supposed to die a lot, but I'm also not understanding what the loop, like where the fun gameplay loop is of like what I'm supposed to be doing. As far as I can see, I'm sort of just going through tunnels and progressing through levels at this stage. Like I haven't leveled up my character or anything like that. Like I just don't understand what there is to it other than a series of puzzle rooms.
My experience with Spelunky 1 was that it was almost like Meat Boy.
Yeah.
like a rogue like Meat Boy. You know, like these weren't constructed levels; these were generated levels, and
Yeah,
so
randomly generated
yeah,
levels.
there's like it's a puzzle platformer with randomly generated levels more than it is a roguelike
RPG or something like that.
exactly. Yeah. Like it is like I think that and that once I framed it that way, uh I think like that helped me sort of contextualize it and have a lot more fun. Well, because I was the same as you playing the first game, I was like, I've played roguelikes. This doesn't seem to have the progression system that I require.
Yeah.
It does eventually, like, there is a very, very light version. But yeah, a light system, sorry. But yeah, to me, it's more about the puzzle platforming. I haven't played Spelunky 2 yet, but I will play it. I'll check it out. Yeah, you've got to reframe it in your mind.
Yeah.
Reframe it away from the roguelike concept. You will die a lot, but it's more like you'll die a lot in Meat Boy than you'll die a lot in Dead Cells, you know? Like,
Yeah.
think about it in that
I
those
think that's kind
terms.
of what is missing for me is that sense of progression, or like
Yeah.
the level up system, or like the reward system. At this stage, I'm not getting any of that. Like, I'm not really
Mm.
sure what else it has to offer, as opposed to just there's a bunch of puzzle rooms and you kind of just learn and progress through the game. Um, so it just hasn't grabbed me at all. Like I said, I only played about an hour, and that was one session, and I haven't really gone back to it since then because it just didn't grab me at all. So I'll definitely have to put more time into it, but at this stage, like it just didn't do anything for me. Whereas a
Yeah,
game
I
like
think like I think it might not be for you.
yeah,
I don't think it has what you want. If it's like Spelunky 1, I don't think it has the loop that you want out of this sort of game.
hmm,
I think the most you ever unlock is like I think it was like a quick jump through a couple of levels or something, to sort of speed things up.
yeah. So it
Or maybe some extra characters.
has
Yeah.
shortcuts.
Shortcuts, yeah, right.
Yeah, this game already has extra characters, and there's like different pets you can choose. But
Right.
yeah, there's shortcuts that you can create.
Mm.
That's it.
Yeah, I think the only progression system is knowledge, you know, and
Sure.
sometimes that's enough in a game, but sometimes it isn't.
Hmm. Yeah, and I guess that's my going on to the next game. That's sort of my issue with Hades,
Yeah.
the end game of Hades. I think that the stuff we talked about last week, the core game, the sort of playthrough from first boss to the last boss that you fight. I think it's an
Mm.
excellent game. Like I said, I think it's Supergiant's best game yet, and seeing a lot of praise for it on social media and the internet. But I also think a lot of that praise is coming from people that haven't finished the game, and that
Yeah.
seems to be the case. Um, and so I'm not seeing a lot of criticism about the game. And I think the weakest part of it is the end game, is the part
Yeah.
where you finish the game and it asks you to move on to the next stage, where it's still trying to tell you the story and it's still trying to expand that world. And I don't think that end game is good, purely because it's sort of um, it stops you from that sense of progression that we're talking about. Like, you don't feel like you're getting any further because you get to a point where you have leveled up your character, or you've put all your gems into um, all these stats that you can increase and add to your character and do different abilities and that sort of stuff. You've got different weapons that you can spend Titan blood on and upgrade
Mm.
them, but there's a limit to how much you can add in there, and it's not a lot. Like, you can pretty much max out quite quickly, and then at
Yeah.
that stage there's no more progression other than the playing a game at a harder difficulty and trying to beat it while still
Yeah.
earning those resources to level up your character, but using a different weapon. like leveling up a weapon that's not as powerful. So there's a point where you stop, as far as I know, you just kind of stop leveling up. Like you don't get
Yep.
any more powerful. I think that's a problem because at that stage, I don't feel like there's any reason for me to be playing the game anymore. Like I was
Yeah.
enjoying getting those resources and putting points into the weapons and making the weapons more powerful and that sort of stuff. But the moment you take that away from me and there's no reason for me to do that anymore other than just trying to beat the game on a time trial run and you
Yep.
making the game harder, then I don't want to play it anymore. Like I'm not having fun.
But is that a criticism of the game? Like, haven't you finished it?
Yeah, I
Or
finished it. Yeah.
did you finish it with every weapon?
No, because I couldn't be
Yeah.
bothered anymore. I was
That
like,
yeah, see that's the thing, right? Like you finished it, but you haven't seen the ending. That is, I think that's the context
hmm,
that you have to put it in, right? Like you have technically finished the game and you're in the end game, but yeah, you haven't resolved the storyline. There's clearly something going on. I've done 4 out of the 6,
yeah,
and I just can't be fucked doing the last 2,
yeah,
the gloves and the bow. I just because I, painstakingly upgraded the other weapons in ways that I thought,
would
were
help.
good.
Yeah,
And turned them into weapons that I really like. To upgrade the gloves and the bow,
you have to play
I
on the
have
harder
to like
difficulty.
play on a harder difficulty, but I can't do that with the guns, with the gloves and the bow. I have to do it with these other ones, which means that I'm not progressing the story.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's a grind. Like it is literally just there to grind out. And I guess I mean, fuck, I can probably finish the game with the gloves or the bow, maybe not the bow. I don't know. I find the bow really hard. I don't know why. I'm just not good with it. Um, but probably I could probably finish the game with the gloves without upgrading. Like I probably don't need aspect or whatever the fuck at
mm,
5 to finish the game. It'll be tough, but I think I'm good enough and I know enough about the game now to do it. But at the same time, uh, I don't know that I want to.
yeah,
I just want to know how the story ends. I mean, there's definitely I really like the narrative. I really like how it's told. I really like the writing, and I really want to know how it ends. There is so much work left, and if that's what it is, it feels like fucking work. There
yeah,
is fucking work left, not fucking fun game left,
mm,
but the chore of finishing. It's a chore now.
yeah. And you've got all this stuff. Like I've got gems coming out of everywhere, and I'm like, I can't do anything with them. Like you're
Yeah,
giving me this currency, and I can't use it because I've literally maxed it all out. I
yeah,
maxed it out on the first, before, like when I beat the game, it was pretty much done, and so I don't know what else
yep,
to max it out on. And so, like, I just think that they give you all this stuff, all these resources. Like you're finishing the game and you're playing on a harder difficulty, and they're giving you things, but you can't do anything with it.
yep.
Like, yeah. So I just kind of
Yeah,
like,
it turns into a situation where there's only one currency that matters anymore, and you don't get anywhere near enough of it.
yeah,
Like, stop giving me fucking diamonds. Stop giving me fucking. I don't want any more fucking ambrosia. I have no fucking use for these things. They literally just go to the guy in the lounge where I can sell shit.
yeah.
I literally just convert that shit into Titan blood.
Or
That is all
keys.
that
Like,
I
why
do
do I
now.
need keys anymore?
Right? Yeah. So now, right, whenever I get a key or a fucking purple gem or ambrosia or whatever, literally I let it rack up. I rack it up until eventually I get enough so I can then spend like 5 fucking minutes standing at the lounge shop guy
Hmm.
converting everything. I convert all the fucking gems into keys, into fucking
Yeah,
into
you're selling the
whatevers, into
keys for
whatevers
something
until I
else,
get
and
the
then
fucking. And then eventually I get a Titan Blood. Or, if he doesn't, if he's not selling Titan Blood that time, I will I have literally. This is when I stopped actually. After I did this, because I'm like, why am I doing this anymore? I went into a level, and in the first room, I let the enemies kill me because the shop dude doesn't reset until you like go on another run, and it didn't seem to work when I abandoned the run. So
Right.
yeah, I let him kill me, and I went back to the shop, and I was finally able to buy the Titan blood. And I'm like, wait, what the fuck am I doing anymore? Like, why am I doing this? What is the
Yeah.
fucking what is this?
So
Yeah, I've
like
got
you compare that with a game like I don't know, Diablo 3, right? You finish that game and you start putting points. Like you, every time you level up, you're still getting. It's not a lot. It's like 0.25 or something like that, or maybe less than that. But at least every time you level up or you get something, you're getting a little bit stronger. Whereas in Hades, like I'm not getting any stronger. I'm literally
yeah,
playing it on a Harvard level every single time, but I'm not getting any stronger in
yep,
terms of my character. And because of the RNG nature, it's not like I'm taking the same weapon with me every time, right? Like I've got the same, uh, like Diablo. I'm not taking the same weapon in with me and I'm making it harder. Like in this game, you're taking the same weapon, but you're getting boons and they're all random. Like you've got a completely different loadout. There's
yep,
times where I haven't seen deflect in like ages, or like all of a sudden cold starts showing up. I haven't seen cold for like 4 runs. Like you just
mm.
can't unless you
I
start
mean,
putting points into those specific keepsakes that give you those
yeah.
loadouts, then it's pretty random. Like you kind of just running into it every time with something completely different, like different builds. And uh, I
Yeah, and
fundamentally think that yeah. Sorry, go
that
ahead.
is cool, right? That is like that's a huge cool factor of the game
Mm,
early on. But when the game starts to feel like a chore, it's just annoying. It's just like fucking Artemis when I got the fucking spear. Like, what the fuck? What, like, really? What the fuck is the point of this? I don't need fucking crit chance on the fucking spear. Like, it's just useless. Just fuck off, right? Give me fucking Dio or Zeus or something. Like something I could fucking use as opposed to crit chance on the god damn it. And you just get annoyed when you see the wrong god. And yeah, you can take keepsakes, but they only work once. Like
mm.
it's not like it's enough to at least force you down one train, but you won't see it all
Yeah.
the time. Like,
It's
yeah,
not like you
okay,
can be
so I
like, I'm
got
going to
to
get Zeus and I'll get 6 Zeuses straight up. It's like,
no,
yeah,
yeah,
one.
exactly. You get Zeus, and then it's hey Artemis, and you're like, for fuck's sake, why? Why are you here? What do you do? What do you bring to the table? You are the worst,
Mm,
except on huge on the exogryph, lover on the exogryph, with the 24 round aspect, the original aspect. I
right.
love crit chance on 24 rounds or
Hmm.
on the 3 round burst, unlimited ammo. When you go to the Daedalus hammer, that one's
Yeah.
fucking crazy. But yeah, otherwise, yeah. I mean, half the time, yeah, you don't even get like you don't even guaranteed a fucking boon. Like
Yeah.
so many runs where you just cool. I've got a choice between a gem room or a fucking nectar. Cool.
Then you
I go to the
change and you're
gem
like, I got
room
a
because
key
I get
now.
five. Yeah, I get 5 extra health when I go like 5 max health when I go to gems. But
Yeah.
that's it. This is fucking pointless. Like, yeah, when you're having fun, that shit's fun. And when it is something you feel you have to do to finish the fucking game, it is annoying as piss. And yeah, it's I don't know, I really want to see how the game ends, and I just can't be fucked
Yeah. And I hope they change it.
finishing it.
Like all they need to do is lift the cap on those Titan blood um uh aspects for each weapon because there's a max cap.
Yep.
And then you can be like, all right, I want to give this more crit or more ammo or whatever. Because at this stage, you only level it up like 4 times or something like that. Not even.
I'm on 20, I think 28. I was on 28 heat with the shield, with the aspect of Zeus. Um because that weapon is fucking goofy. And like that's my main farming. Like I'm on heat 28 because I worked out eventually. I got to like, I don't know, heat 10 doing the full run because you get Titan Blood off the final boss. Heat 10, heat 9 maybe. But yeah. I don't have to do the final boss. I just knock it up a heat and then I do the fucking
To the
first
first
boss.
boss. Yeah.
I just keep farming that boss. That is tedious as shit.
Hmm.
It doesn't like there's 3 versions of that boss. It doesn't fucking matter. They all die to the shield. I'm only 28 because I got bored. Like that shit's automatic now. Like fucking hell.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah, I think that game overall is very good. I think the end game needs to be changed, and there's nothing, you know, I think they can change it. There's no reason why they can't. I don't see so, unless they stop supporting it or something. But otherwise, I don't think I'll go back to it at this stage. I just don't. I'm not having fun with that end game. It just seems, like you said, sort of tedious and repetitive and boring. I'm not feeling as powerful anymore playing it.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what you want, right? You want that power fantasy, but they strip you of that. So, all right, shall we move on? We got 3 more here. Most of them are yours.
All right.
What do you want to kick off with?
Let's do Among Us.
Okay.
Was playing this on the weekend. Had some pretty funny fucking games. I was playing with the 3rd-person crew. They've got a decent amount of people. I think we had 10 at one point.
Cool.
And yeah, some extremely fucking funny games. We had one game with Kleb's wife was playing, and she played the most stellar game of, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, how does anything work? While she like systematically murdered everyone. And holy shit, it was like a masterclass in like lying through you. Like, but she set it up perfectly. Like, this was just her 2nd game, as far as we could tell. And in the first game, she clearly had no fucking idea. At one point, because I think Kleb recorded it. At one point, she is like dismissed as the suspect purely because like one of the other guys playing is like, nah, it can't have been Woozy. She just doesn't know what she's doing. Like, she doesn't know enough to know this, so it can't be her. So I'm ruling her out, and everyone sort of went with it.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah, I went with it. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. So it has to be. And I argue, I think I was like the last one alive in that game, and I argued very strongly to kill the only other human and not.
Does everybody else vote, or is it just the people that are alive?
Only the people who are alive.
Okay.
And yeah, no, very funny. That game is extremely entertaining. I can't play it for ages and ages, but yeah, like it's gold for moments like that, right? Like there was that. There was another one where Trig was playing and his girlfriend was playing as well, and she literally like stood behind me as the imposter, stood behind me in oxygen on the spaceship. I was doing something in oxygen. She stood there for like, I don't know, 20 seconds doing nothing at all, like not even close to one of the tasks she had to do, just stood there. And then as soon as I walked away and Trig walked in, she murdered him. And all I did was like double back, and there was like Trig's dead body. And I'm like, you literally could have killed me at any point, right? Like this is lock stock. You are done, right? You're getting yeeted into space. You could have killed me at any fucking point in this game, and yet you waited until your boyfriend showed up just so you can murder him and him alone. Because you're not going to get to kill anyone else now. You literally just killed him. It was like vindictive as shit. It was crazy, but very funny. There's a lot of depth to the game, a lot more depth than I think is initially apparent. But there is a little bit, it's a classic board game issue where there can be a little bit of quarterbacking, which is the board game term for like one person sort of takes charge and dictates how everything goes. And yeah, there's a bit of quarterbacking that takes place in Among Us when there are like when people have different, I don't know, like when people know more. The more people know about how the game works, it can be a little bit overwhelming. Someone will go to, I was in security watching on the cameras and this was happening, blah, 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 blah. And I'm sitting there like, there's fucking cameras? Like, what? Or yeah, I was in admin watching where people moved and somebody moved from here to here and they can't have done that unless they were in the vents. So it's them. And you're like, you can see how people move in admin, and like you like as a player, until you can go and look into this stuff yourself, right? You feel obliged to believe them because they have more knowledge than you, and obviously this can be weaponized as like an imposter who knows a lot is able to sort of use that shit against everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know. I don't know how you'd solve that. Like, there's not really an easy way to solve knowledge disparities. And obviously, like Woozy did, you can weaponize your ignorance or your apparent ignorance against players as well. So like there's a lot going on there, right? I also think that there might be like at one point I think we had 10 people playing this game and I killed like, what was there, 5 left? So I killed like 5 people. We had 2 imposters and I killed 5 people, but so it was the 2 imposters were left and then there were 3 other people left, and they were basically in one another's pockets the entire game. So when it turned out that there were 5 people dead, they just voted me and the other imposter out because they knew that none of them had done it. And I don't think there is a solution for that. Like the only way to solve that, as the imposter, you can do these sabotages where you can sort of split people up, and you can use that to sort of, like kill people pretty successfully, but they'd still be able to stall you out. I was basically half a meter away from murdering the last one I needed. I only need one more kill, and I think we would have won. Which, to be honest, if my other imposter had done any killing at all, we would have fucking won. But yeah, like if players literally just stick in each other's pockets, there's not enough time pressure, right? It's not like you need to get all these tasks done within such and such time or it's going to crash into a planet or something, right? And I think the game needs that time pressure because otherwise, as an imposter, there's nothing you can do against a team staying together. And yeah, with 3 of them, they had a voting majority to vote us out. And that sucks ass. That's a shitty, like, in my opinion, a really shitty way to play the game, but it is a very viable strategy to win.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to check it out yet. I think that because of my time zone situation, it makes it a bit harder for me. Especially a game where there's a lot of communication involved.
Yep.
When I'm playing at 1 o'clock in the morning over here. But we didn't talk about it yet. They announced the developers. They're a very small team. It's like 3 people.
Yep.
Obviously, Among Us is sort of this like sleeper hit over the last 3 weeks. It's
Yep.
been out for a couple of years now, like 2 years, something like that.
Yeah.
They announced a sequel to it about 5 weeks ago called Among Us 2. And
Yeah.
this week they cancelled it. They cancelled the sequel
Yeah.
because this game took off. And so instead they're going to focus a lot of their time on updating the original game. And back when they announced the sequel, they said that they hadn't actually started working on any code or any art or anything like that. I think it took them about about a year to have that game from conception to release. And so since this thing has taken off, and we're talking about it's like doing more numbers than PUBG at this stage. It's like
Yep.
top 4 in the Steam charts. So it's very popular. They have made a lot of bank on this game, at least, which is pretty cool for an indie game that seems to have just come out of nowhere. But I guess that's one of those games that sort of streamers picked up. And then it just pretty much just exploded, right? So
I think I think it is it's ripe for the taking.
Yeah.
It's the battle royale of 2020, where
Mm,
someone's going to come along and do it in a way that is good.
yeah.
'Cause it's janky as shit. Like
Yeah.
I got booted from a couple of games while I was playing and it's sort of like I don't know what it is, but it sort of takes down my entire network. Like I can't even talk on Discord.
Hmm.
And then once I'm booted from the server, I'm able to fucking talk again and stuff. Like it's one of those sorts of games where not only is it not stable enough to keep me in the game, but it's also like impacting the rest of my fucking uh, like network ability, which is
Yeah.
not a good thing. But like, there's all kinds of like tiny quality of life things that they could do. Who like, I think it'd be fascinating to play. Like, you can't even change maps without killing the entire server and
Okay.
starting it up again. You can't change map settings without doing that. Like, it is
Mm,
bananas how janky it is. And yeah, someone's going to come along and do this shit. But there's all kinds of little things that they could do to improve it as well. Like, I
yeah.
think it'd be amazing to play with like proximity chat. I reckon that'd be a fucking blast. That'd be fucking hilarious. Like, you can talk all you want in game, and then you can only hear people when you're near them, and then when you get called to the emergency meeting,
Hmm.
everyone's near close enough to be able to hear everyone, and the yelling can begin. But there's not even a voice chat system in the game itself. I think fundamentally,
There's no voice chat in the game? I thought
no,
there was.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure there isn't. Well, now I don't know, but I don't want to. I
How
don't
else
want
do
to
you
fucking
communicate with people?
type.
Really? Oh,
Yep.
currently Among Us doesn't feature any in-game voice chat. Wow. Okay, that's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. Right. Like, that someone's going to come along and do these little things, and
Hmm.
it is going to be phenomenal for the game.
Well, we've talked about games like Deceit,
Deceit.
right?
Yeah.
It's the same concept, except
Yeah.
it's I guess on a smaller scale in terms of player count. But it's a first-person game where you're running around. No, is it a first person or third person? I think it's third person, where you're running
Third.
around and completing tasks, and somebody, maybe 2 people, are the killers, and they're running around and
Yeah.
taking killing people, and you get to the end of the mission, you're like, where's Joab gone? And like, oh, Job's dead.
Yeah.
Like, all right, who did it? And
Yep.
that's I don't think there's any voting in that game as far as I can remember. I
No,
think
you
it's
just have
more
to
just
you just
killing
kill
people. Yeah,
yeah,
but
like
there's games out there like that.
100%. But I think what makes this one work is the like how structured it is. it is so
like fast paced, quick.
yeah, like it happens so quickly. Like everything happens in a instant. You call it a meeting, and everyone gets teleported, or you're the imposter and you kill someone, and like it's just bang, they're dead. Like it's not like this drawn out thing. It's just sort of like bang, 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 and someone's going to come along, and it's got the art style that sort of mutes it. Deceit's very horrifying.
Yeah,
but this isn't. Yeah, there's also Unfortunate Spaceman, which I've tried over and over and over again to get people to play, but nobody ever fucking will. Like, yeah. It's coming. The Among Us craze, I think, is going to spawn some copycats, and
sure.
it's going to be interesting to see who does it in a way that captures everyone's attention.
Right. Are you talking about like I don't know, a mainstream publisher, or do you think
I'm surprised Epic hasn't ripped it off yet.
like Fortnite Among Us or something?
100%. I'm flabbergasted that they haven't done it yet. I think Fortnite could almost do it right now.
Mm.
Like, or that it hasn't. Like, it's probably a Gmod in Half-Life 2. It probably is. Like it's not that different to some of the other games I've played there before. I'd be surprised if there wasn't a Mafia ripoff in Gmod. Yeah, I'm surprised. I like. Then again, there are a lot of games that I'm surprised haven't been ripped off from G. Like, why haven't we seen a mainstream prop hunt game where like people are fucking like bricks or something, and you have like one player has to find the brick? I don't understand.
That's kind of hard to turn into a monetized,
True.
game. No one's really making them.
Yeah.
But I mean, we saw like look what happened with auto chess, and
Yeah.
that died pretty quickly, right? So
Yeah,
there's
it
a
dropped
chance
off.
that. But I guess the things about the auto chess and a game like Among Us is the complexity of it. It's not the same.
Yeah.
And
No.
that's why Fortnite took off, is because it had that art style and that
Exactly.
it wasn't as complex as like a PUBG. And that's why it sort of appealed to a specific audience, a younger audience, whereas Among Us is that type of game, right, where it can appeal to that younger audience. So I don't know. Maybe it ends up. Maybe Blizzard does it. Maybe Blizzard just rips it off at some stage.
Why not?
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
Should we move on?
All right. Let's do it.
Do you want to about Warzone or Mafia?
Let's do Warzone.
Okay.
New map out or new update, new season
Update
out.
the map, season 6,
and an update to the map. Yeah. They've added a subway. It eats ass. It's not well implemented in my opinion. It sort of teleports you around the map. Every time you teleport, apparently your health gets reset. So people are using it to exploit their way into victory by self-reviving on the train while in the gas and stuff like that. I've seen a bunch of videos of people doing that now, which is garbage. Worse still is if, like, when I self-revived on the train, I came back in with no weapons and no ability to do anything. I just sort of fucking ran around and died shortly thereafter, which is obviously not a good thing. What else? There's like new stuff in crates. You can find self revives in crates now.
Yeah, cool.
Which means there are a load more self revives in the game. You can also find a kill streak that tells you the location of every circle
right
at the end of the game, which I think is pretty huge. But I think you only find it in bunkers. You can't buy it.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't hate it. Yeah. What else? They've nerfed how far you can throw C4, which bit weird. It's a pretty hectic nerf, and yeah, it means you can't even throw it over like some walls. Like you barely get it twice the height of your player character. Like it's I think it might be a bit too drastic, but I think it
Right.
needed to happen because you'd be
They're too
driving
powerful.
anywhere and yeah, you'd be like, well, here comes the C4, and then yeah, bang,
Yeah.
four
But I
player
mean, not
kill.
even that. Just like if you've got a choice between grenades or anything like that, it's like you take the C4
Why
because
wouldn't you
it
take
just does
C4?
so
It
much damage.
does more damage.
It's quick.
It's faster than a grenade. They don't have a chance to fucking dodge it.
Mm.
Like, yeah. Yeah, exactly. What else? A couple of new weapons, but I haven't managed to unlock them yet, so I haven't checked them out. They changed the basic weapons that drop on the ground. Uh, the origin shotgun is gone. You can no longer get a green shotgun and murder every single person in Superstore.
You can.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I had some fun. I played last night, but
They're
I don't
putting
remember.
zombies in or something for Halloween. Looks like.
Are they?
Yeah. Well, I saw a roadmap. And Spooktober or something like that. It was called, and so it sounds
All
like
right.
they're doing some sort of Halloween themed thing. I just immediately went to zombies because they did zombies
Like
in.
Apex?
Well, they did zombies in Blackout last year.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't play that.
Yeah.
We couldn't get a game going in Australia, but yeah. And I
So
guess
that could
they
be
did
interesting.
the big COD zombies reveal today. There's loadouts in zombies now. I don't know that I agree with that, to be honest, but
Sure.
yeah. Anyway, I'm still having fun with it, but yeah, it's a pretty weird update. There's yeah, the implementation of the subway system is so fucking goofy. So yeah, I don't know. All those little things add up, I think, eventually.
Right. Yeah, I've been playing a bit with you guys as well. I think we
Yeah.
talked about it last week. We had a big session, but also we played a bunch as well, like the last week.
Yep.
Which is good. I think we put some videos up, both of us, somewhere. I think maybe I just put it in our chat, but you posted a couple of things as well.
Yeah, we had some really good fucking wins. You can watch them on my YouTube. I think it's just youtube.com/JobyJojo, maybe. But yeah, I had a couple of good wins. We had one. You weren't there for the first one, I think. It was me. I'll bring up the video. That'll make it easy. Me, Liam, Kleb, and Nate. And we like full reset. Like Nate got a fucking most wanted in like the fourth circle or something. At the edge of the gas, and we just like fucking all he had to do was stay alive for as long as humanly possible, and he managed to do it until yeah, we all came back in. I got the sticks and the shield, and then yeah, managed to secure the win at the end because the only person left had like literally just been brought back in. So he didn't have anything, unfortunately. Unfortunately for him, anyway. So I managed to get the victory on that one. And then we had the full reset win, where like we got White running away from TV station, running up north from TV station, tried to get over a cliff, but there was only one way up. So those of us who didn't die to the gas died. Sorry, didn't die to the team camping the top of the cliff, died to the gas instead. And yeah, we've all reset. I'd already died once, so I didn't get to fucking gulag at all. Nate lands on a most wanted and a chopper, but the chopper was like 90% dead already.
And someone
That
started shooting at him.
explodes. Yeah, that explodes. He runs for his fucking life. Gets knocked. Kleb's back in from the gulag with a gun, shoots stops the fucking flush. They don't get to finish the kill. Gets a sliver, 2% health. It had to be.
Gets grenaded.
Yeah. Right? Oh my god. Throws his own grenade against the fucking wall in front of him. Such a nightmare. Such a clusterfuck. But somehow gets Nate back up. Somehow they do not push Nate, even though he can't have had, even if you didn't. I was watching and he only had one fucking armor plate. But even if you didn't know that, he can't have had enough, right? You knew he didn't have shit. And they let him sit underneath them for fucking they literally protect him. That another team came in and fought the guys upstairs instead of going and getting the kill on him, and they could have done it. It was clearly a full team upstairs. It was clearly 2 full teams. It was quads. 8 fucking people. All one of them had to do was go downstairs and get Nate, and none of them fucking did it. Yeah. Kleb stays outside, doesn't get fucking caught up from behind somehow. And yeah, he kills 3 minutes and gets me and you back in with the fucking sticks and shield. We go straight for the sticks and shield.
Yeah, there's a drop directly below us. This is one of the second last circle at this stage.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, we get in, we ran, somehow we run from the drop into the building where Nate and Kleb were hiding. And then yeah, fucking we finished that shit off. We fucking wrapped that shit up. There was, of the 8 guys upstairs, only 1 was left. And we beat him to death with a fucking shield. And that must have sucked for him. But when we got up top, there was so much shit everywhere. They got a fucking airstrike, fucking all over the place. Airstruck one. Kleb killed most of the team on the outskirts. I finished him off with the fucking airstrike. We run in, and then the last 2 guys. Yeah. 2 guys, yeah. And I don't know what the fuck they were doing. I've watched that fucking video back.
I think they were trying to get a loadout, and they were stuck behind a couple of rocks, because I think Nate flashed them, and then I flashed them, and then I think I flashed them again, and they were just nothing. They couldn't do anything.
Yeah. And yeah, so the last dude died just sort of standing on some rocks in the gas, getting fucking belted. And we won that game. And it's not that was a fucking big game, man. We went fucking huge in that game. I think I had 9 kills by the end. I think we had as a team, it might have been fucking 28 kills.
Yeah.
As a team, it was a fucking big one. And yeah, so it's not like we didn't fucking earn our victory. We earned that shit. It was just hilarious how it went down. Very entertaining. But yeah, you can watch it in action on my YouTube. It is youtube.com/JobyJojo. I put up a quick vid of how it went down. Yeah.
We had that other game where I think we had 16 kills and we were all alive, and I went and grabbed the most wanted while we were just screwing around.
That was fucking so dumb and extremely funny. But hadn't we just been called back in or something? We landed. Oh yeah, Kleb had the fucking most wanted and manages to fucking finish it off at hospital under fucking pressure, right? Yeah. And we all land. We've got fucking nothing. And you run up and grab another fucking most wanted. In there's fucking 4 teams left, and oh my god, I'm what are you doing? What are you doing? We got a crate. Yeah, we got a crate. Luckily, yeah. Holy shit, we should not have gotten away with that fucking win. That was so dumb.
Yeah, we won that.
And then every game after that, I had to go and get new missions that weren't most wanted just to stop you from grabbing the fucking most wanted. So I'm like, oh yeah, we're on a recon now. I don't care where it is. We're just doing recon so that Luke isn't grabbing a fucking most wanted, isn't called raining hell upon us over and over again, calling all the attention in the world onto us. Yeah.
But it's a trap. It's a trick because people don't expect to run into a team of 4. They think, oh, there's one person under here, and they get there and there's a whole fucking team ready to shoot them.
Yeah, that is true.
It's good bait.
Yep. It does actually work from that perspective. But oh my god. Oh my god.
That's good.
Anyway.
All right. That's Warzone. There you go.
Yep.
We got last Mafia Definitive Edition.
Yeah. It's an interesting one for me. I have very fond memories of Mafia. I think a lot of it, like I think it's a great story. I do not think it's told super well. I think it's like I don't know. It's from a time when I think we're spoiled. We're spoiled with voice acting these days. And we're spoiled by the quality of voice acting these days.
Yeah.
But I do not think Mafia's voice acting is that great. At the end of the day, I think it's a little hammy. And so I think some of my memories are more rose-tinted glass style memories than they are genuine adoration. It's I do not remember it being a super linear game. I don't know why.
Yeah, because it's an open world game, right? But it's not like a Assassin's Creed or Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man, or like this sort of open worlds we get today where you're actually, there's like markers all over the place and you go do side missions and all that. Like it's an open world game, but it's, linear storytelling.
You never get the option. Well, you can abandon your mission. That's very cool. Like it's very cool that it allows you, like some other games, to be like, get back on mission. But this one's just like, oh yeah, what you doing? Oh, you're gonna go steal a bike, all right? Or
good luck
collecting your car, or you can go and do whatever the fuck you want, but there's no reason for you to. Like it is very much just on mission. Just do the mission. Which, I mean, I don't hate it. It's weird, right? It's like I don't remember it being like this, and I find that odd, I guess. Like I find it odd in the what do they call it? What's that phenomenon? Like the Bernstein or Berenstain Bears phenomenon? I'm gonna have to fucking look this up now. It's driving me fucking bananas. Bernstein, Berenstain. What do they call this? It isn't the Mandela effect, but it's called the Mandela effect, right? I use Bernstein and Berenstain because it's one of the cases people believe.
This is like when you think that I've said something like one of our bets, or
go on.
When I'm like, oh, the PlayStation is going to be $499. You're like, you never said that. You said it was going to be $700. I'm like, what? No, here's a recording.
Maybe
it's like that. Is it?
It's not like when you say Tenet will definitely be available for streaming by the end of September, after already saying by what was it, like 2 weeks after it came out, you reckoned? Then you reneged on that one, and then you're like, oh no, the end of September. Oh no, the end of the year.
Only if they weren't idiots, and it turns out they're idiots, and they don't know what they're doing.
That doesn't matter. Anyway, you better eat some fucking spaghetti with Skittles in it. Is all I'm saying. Okay. And yeah, this false memory, right? It's a false memory phenomenon. In that, in my mind, it was a very open game where you went collecting cars, but I think that was the second one. No, but I think I did that in the first one. Like, you definitely do that a bit in the second one, but I think because the garage has, like, slots for you to get cars from,
Right.
I just filled it up with cars just
Yeah.
on my own, I think. Uh, but yeah, otherwise it's an extremely linear game, which,
Mm.
yeah, like I said, I don't have a problem with. I think it's very interesting to build out this giant open world and then use it in this manner. I think it's quite cool. Um,
Mm.
I had to turn off. I was playing on classic, but I had to turn off the simulation driving when I was doing the. There's a race. You do a race at the start of the game, and
Yeah.
I had to turn off simulation driving because I got to the. It's like 3 laps, and I got to the last corner on the third lap on my, I don't know, 6,000th attempt,
Mm.
and I slid out going around the corner,
Right.
and I didn't win, and so I
Change your driving.
raged. I lost my fucking mind with rage, and then I, yeah, turned off simulation driving.
Because the cars are
And
very, they were very like boaty, right? They're very floaty and
yeah, yeah,
like big.
yeah, exactly.
Like you turn the wheel and they're like, "Yep, we're still going straight."
Where I'll take that under advisement, but we will turn when I decide we turn.
Yeah, maybe
Um,
turn the wheel 4 more times and then we'll think about it.
yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, so that was pretty. And then, like, when I turned the driving off simulation, I was in first place by the third corner, and
Yeah.
I just spent the rest of the race just sort of doing loops. I had to take the headphones off as well because I couldn't listen to the race commentary anymore
Right.
because it was doing my head in. I'd
Yeah.
heard it so many times at that point. Anyway,
How does the traffic enforcement hold up? Because I remember that being like a contentious sort of subject, but I always thought it was really cool, and it's always a thing
I
that I
was
would
always
like
a
to
huge
see
fan as well. Yep.
in like a GTA or something like that. So does it hold up, or you just find it frustrating?
No, I like it. I like it a lot.
Mm.
I like when they'll call in because of dangerous driving or something, and yeah, they call it in. You're like, well, that's what I get. Maybe I shouldn't have been, you know, drifting around corners and crashing into fucking cars as a
Yeah.
way to slow myself down. Or maybe I've got a muscle car that does like 120 miles an hour if I get a big enough stretch of
Yeah.
stretch of road, but the speed limit's like 40 miles an hour. So I'm going 80 over, just fucking belting over this bridge. And there's a cop car, like you go fast enough that like you see the cop car on your mini map and it's too late. Like, even if you hit the brakes now, you'd still be doing 100 by the time you fucking pass the cunt.
Mm.
So you're like, well, yeah, try and catch me though. Like, fucking good
Yeah.
luck.
By the time you turn around.
Yeah, right. Like, I'm already in another fucking uh parsec.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, no, I like it. I'd love to see it in more games. I've always loved the idea of it. I'd
Or
love to
just
see
the
it.
choice, like the choice of having,
Yeah,
I don't know, like some sort of toggle that's like enforce traffic rules, or just like do whatever you want type thing. I think that'd be interesting.
yep, yep.
Um,
But I'm enjoying it. But it's one of those games where I'll play a level and then do something else.
yeah,
I was sick last week, so it was a good way to kill some time while being sick.
yeah. Is it
Uh,
does it hold up visually as well as some of the screenshots and things that I've seen, or is that
oh, it is very fucking pretty.
yeah?
Yeah, when it's like been raining and it's nighttime, like yeah,
Mm.
that's
The
just
shooting feels
fucking.
good.
Yeah, the shooting's good. I'm not
Cool.
having any problems with that. I'm playing on controller. Um, this feels like the sort of game you play on controller. in my opinion. Um, and yeah, that all works really well. Um, yeah, I like the story. I just don't like how it's acted. But I still really like the story, and I know when I get through this, I'll go play Mafia 2, and that's going to be a gut punch again because I know what happens. And I was a gut punch last time, so that's going to be some
Yeah.
shit. Um, and then I won't play Mafia 3 probably.
Mm.
But yeah, I'm enjoying my revisit. It's I think it's a really well done remaster.
Is it a
Um,
remaster or is it a remake? Because they've
I
said
mean,
they
they
built it from
rebuilt
the
it.
ground up, right?
Yeah, they rebuilt it, but they've stayed, as far as I can tell, unbelievably faithful
Yeah, it's
to.
not like they're not changing like game design. You're not running into different missions or like I don't know. Like I haven't looked into it far enough where they're like, hey, we've sort of tweaked the way this mission works, or
Yeah,
these systems behave a little bit differently. Is it more like we're in a funny place where remasters are very different. Like the whole, you can either just up-res it and have better
yeah,
textures, or you've got the better frame rate, or you can just do what they're doing here. These types of games, like the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater One Plus
yeah,
Two or Mafia, where they go in and then they like build it from the ground up, but it pretty much behaves the same way. Or you've got the ones like your Resident Evil, and they've gone in and like like that game plays differently. There's like there's
yeah.
different things you can do in that game. Um, although you've got the Final Fantasy remake, and without spoiling it too much, but like maybe it's not a remake, maybe it is, maybe it's not even a remaster at that stage. It could be called something completely different.
Yeah.
We're in this strange place where we don't really know what a label is at this point.
Well,
Um,
I blame Final Fantasy entirely for that. 100%. Like
yeah,
it's all Final Fantasy's fault.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, otherwise, that's why I went with remaster because Final Fantasy fucked up the word remake.
yeah. Um, All right. Yeah, I'm interested in getting back in there, but we'll have to see. There's some stuff coming out, and I may not get time.
Yeah,
But yeah, Mafia 1 and 2 were definitely those games that I really enjoyed a lot. So
yeah.
yeah, keen to check that out. Anything else you want to add?
No, I don't think
No.
so. It's definitely worth checking out. Like, 100%. I don't know about um two yet, but I'm sure it's quite good. I heard good things. So yeah, do
Cool.
it.
All right. Let's just bust into the news. There's not a lot here, but we'll go through what we've got.
Go.
The first one is Amazon is launching a new video game streaming service called Luna. It'll be using a lot of their cloud-based solutions. And it's coming out pretty soon. They don't have a release date, but they're taking like early access requests for people that want to jump in there. It seems like this month, October, they'll be doing a bit of a trial run and getting people on board. But it's basically using like you'll be able to play it on your TV in your living room. You'll sign up to a subscription. At the moment, it's running at about $5.99 US a month. It's only available in the US at this stage, and you'll get a selection of games to choose from, and they'll stream it to you in 4K, like 60 frames per second. That's sort of what they're aiming for. It seems like at this stage they're doing a better job in terms of sort of like describing what this system is. Compared to what we've seen with Google and Stadia,
Yeah,
what they're doing. I think one of the interesting things here is that you're sort of having this subscription service and that gets you a selection of games in this library they're doing, but they're also doing this like channel system. So you're able to subscribe to like the Ubisoft channel, and then you get the Ubisoft collection of games, which is completely
yeah,
different to what Google Stadia was doing, because they were doing the subscription service but you could also buy games as well. And so you go and buy the Ubisoft games, and that would be in your library. And it was very messy. But I think this is a much more elegant way of being like, hey, um, you can buy a subscription service, but also if you want this selection of games, then you can subscribe to that channel and you get this stuff. It's very easy for someone to digest because that is how you pay for like cable subscriptions or anything like that. Like you get your Comcast or whatever it is, Foxtel in Australia, but you can also buy your packages. I want my sports channels or I want my news channels, like that sort of thing.
Yep.
And so it's easy for people to go, oh yeah, I understand that. I want the Ubisoft
Yeah.
channel. And then I get the Ubisoft stuff. Or I want the EA channel. And it could be similar to like what EA's got at the moment. And maybe EA is, they're splitting the cost, but you can subscribe to these different channels and you get these types of games. And I think it's a much smarter way of delivering a cloud-based streaming service. And Amazon has the infrastructure to do all this stuff. It looks like they're doing things with like you can buy an Amazon controller, or you can just use one that's got Bluetooth in there already. I think what we're going to end up seeing is once people start testing it and benchmarking it, and the tech sites get involved, and they start looking at things like latency and how that sort of works. And then like the comparisons to what else is on offer with your Google or the stuff that Xbox is doing or PlayStation Now, and then you can start like, or even the Nvidia streaming solution, GeForce, was it GeForce Now? The one that just got completely gutted by the end of all this. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that will be on there. It'll be available on PC, Mac, iOS, and it seems like it's a. I mean, if anyone's going to be able to pull this off, it'll be at Amazon at this stage because it seems like Google kind of shit the bed with their solution at this point. So, and also it comes down to does Amazon tie it into their other services? Because like I pay for Amazon Prime, and that gets me free deliveries, like special delivery dates and times, and then I get the Amazon Prime video service, and like it's tied into a bunch of different things. I get stuff on Twitch, and like do they start to slowly integrate a bunch of this stuff so it just becomes like this all-round service where like, hey, here's your movie section, here's your games, and here's your Audible, because I can get Audible stuff as well for free every month, and it just becomes this like service. So I don't know, man, like it's an interesting sort of the way that they're going about it. Do you have any thoughts on this at all? Have you seen it at all? This is first hearing about it.
Like I looked into it when it was first announced, and it was like America only. I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to Australia then.
No.
I don't know when it's going to matter to Australia either. It's going to be a while before it does. I don't think everyone on the internet likes to meme about how bad our internet is, and certainly in some places it is awful. But by and large, most people have access to internet good enough. Like I saw whatever fucking PlayStation Now was called before it was PlayStation Now. Like I was playing that in the offices at Game Arena on a broadband connection. We had a broadband test connection, and that was working back in fucking 2011. I think even the lower end NBN packages are capable these days of streaming video games at at least 1080p.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I think Australia would be able, is capable, and Xbox is testing their service soon, but all of these services take forever to get to Australia. They always roll it out elsewhere first, so it's gonna be a while before we even get a fucking look at it. Maybe by then it will have matured into the platform that you think it could become. But
yeah, and it gets to the point where you're like, oh well, why wouldn't I just get an Xbox Game Pass subscription?
100%.
And at that stage,
big problem. Yeah.
Well, no, at that stage you need the hardware, right? You either need the PC or you need the Xbox. Whereas
Right.
this Amazon cloud gaming service, all you need is a controller and an internet connection. Like
True.
you're skipping the $300 purchase, and all you're doing is paying $5.99 US a month for all the games. So they're sort of
Yeah.
skipping that hurdle. I don't know.
True.
If it works, it works. You know, it's good enough for some people. We'll see what happens.
Yep.
All right, and the is it the last story we've got here? I think so. Last one we've got here is the co-founder and former president of Blizzard, Mike Morhaime, has opened up a new game company called Dreamhaven, and with that, they're creating two new studios. One of them is called Moonshot, and the other one is Secret Door. And it is mostly comprised of former Blizzard employees. They've got about 30 people so far, but they're actively hiring at this point. Might rattle off some names here because there's some big players on this on these two studios. First one we've got is Moonshot, and that is led by former Blizzard executive producer Jason Chase, who worked on Diablo 3, StarCraft 2, World of Warcraft, Cataclysm, and former StarCraft 2 and Heroes of Storm game director Dustin Browder, and also former Hearthstone creative director Ben Thompson. Dave, that's a lot of.
I've interviewed all three of those.
Yeah, that's a big. That's some big caliber games. Like,
Yeah.
sorry, names at least, and
Names,
games. And then the second studio here we've got is Secret Door, being led by former Hearthstone executive producer Chris Siggety.
Yep.
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yep.
Here's the Storm, StarCraft 2. That's two of the games that I know him from. The next one is Alan Dabry, who is the technical and game director was on Heroes of the Storm. And then you got former Hearthstone game director Eric Dodds, and he was a technical director on Warcraft 3, World of Warcraft, StarCraft 2 as well. And I've interviewed Chris and Alan for Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, I've
when that game
Chris
was released.
Eric, these were like these interviews too. These are like these
guys running the show.
Yeah, like at BlizzCon, I cannot believe secured this interview type shit. Like these guys are the tippy top. These are some huge fucking gets.
Yeah, this kind of I mean, it puts in light like obviously Blizzard is now owned by Activision, right? And you've got Mike Morhaime, who was the co-founder and former president of that company, who said he was leaving the industry to go work on do his own thing, and now all of a sudden he's come back. Is this a no compete clause is sort of ended, and he's drafted up the best of the best of the crew that is formerly at Blizzard, who have worked on some of the highlight games of the last like decade of Blizzard titles, and he's putting together this like super team.
It's
nuts.
It's pretty big. It's pretty huge. I'm excited to see what they put together. I'm excited to see where they go with it.
Yeah, well, who buys them first?
I'm pretty sure he said he wasn't going to allow creative control or control of the company out of his hands this time. So, yeah.
There's a bunch of other Blizzard names that I've seen that are on this list, but these are sort of like
the
studio leads.
It was like one out of the company's 27 employees is only one is not a former Blizzard employee.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a big deal.
Obviously, not going to see much out of them for a while, being a new studio and all, but it's exciting to sort of see where this is sort of like the creation of it, where it's coming from, and what it'll mean in the future. Hopefully, it takes off and we see some cool games. I'm wondering at this stage, are they going to be sort of smaller indie titles where they sort of just churn them out pretty quickly, as opposed to like, hey, we've been making this game for 3 years and here it is, like type thing. Or they'd start like a bit smaller and like games as a service stuff. But
Yeah.
we'll have to see. Hopefully we hear more about that soon. But that's definitely like a studio to keep an eye out for. They've got some big talent there.
Yep.
And that's it. That's the news. There wasn't a lot this week.
No.
Not that I saw that we could talk about, but it's there. Do we have any questions on Discord that we can talk about? Or is
We
that it?
do have
Can you go watch the
questions.
basketball?
You cannot.
Oh, damn it.
We got a couple. All right, Frisco writes, "Hello, Mr. Joab." Fucking fuck you, Luke. Hello, Mr. Joab. I'm considering buying the upcoming HP Reverb G2 VR headset priced at around $1,000. In your opinion, are the games currently in Steam VR library worth the 1K buy-in? No. I am very, very on the fence about it. No. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. What do you reckon, Luke?
1,000. I haven't heard about this.
Is VR worth $1,000 buy-in in general? Do you think?
Maybe not.
I don't.
How much did I pay for mine? Fuck, I don't remember.
Can I come back to you next week when I've played Star Wars Squadrons in VR? Because that might be enough to sway me. I mean, I'm very, very on the fence. Yeah. Give me a week. Maybe Squadrons is enough. Probably not. $1,000 is still a huge buy-in.
I think it depends on like what type of games you're into as well.
Yeah.
Because there's obviously some big ones there, like your Beat Saber. Like if you're the type of person who likes rhythm games and that sort of thing, that's on the list. It's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Half-Life Alyx is the best VR game to come out. So, and it's one of the best games of this year. So you can have that to play with. And yeah, there's a bunch on there. Like we said, the Star Wars Squadrons, if that's any good.
If you like No Man's Sky, that's available in VR, but fuck.
No. Play the Star Trek game instead.
Oh, yeah.
Basically. Basically better.
Yeah, I'm going to go with no, but...
I don't know. I haven't looked at this I haven't looked at this headset. Close. I haven't heard about it at all.
Pardon me. Sorry. No, neither have I, but yeah. Anyway, I'll get back to you next week, Frisco, but at the moment, I'm saying no. I don't think it's coming out that soon, so you can wait a week. I hopefully remember. I'm all right. I'm going to write to remind myself. Re-answer next week. All right. Fridge Monster Man writes, "Hi, Luke. Hi, Joab." Oh, you get addressed in this one.
I'm here.
As you guys bounce from game to game to game, how long does it take you to learn the controls for each game? I sometimes find it hard to pick up new games because it takes me a while to unlearn the controls from the last game I was playing. Me, personally, I think this is my superpower, honestly. I do it so fucking fast. I do it faster than the people who employed to do it really quickly. Every time we go to a fucking event, I'm always... I blitz cunts, right? This is literally my awful, pointless superpower, because I will, if it's any kind of multiplayer element at all, any kind of competitive element to it, I will always wreck every single person in the room, because I acquire the ability to play at a basic level so much faster than everyone else. I do not acquire the ability to play at an advanced level faster than anyone else, but at the basic level, I'm like straight in. Like, it's just put the control in my hands and I'll have a grasp on it faster than anyone else. That's not bragging. That is literally what happens at events. Like that's just how it is. What about you, Luke? Do you find you can't separate yourself from your last game when you're trying to play a new one?
I'm generally pretty good in terms of controls and that sort of thing. Especially ones that are really intuitive and you kind of just get it. I'm replaying Marvel's Spider-Man at the moment, and like being able to pick that up and just be like, all right, I know all the buttons. This is easy. Like, you sort of get used to it. The ones that throw me off, it's generally the Nintendo games when they're like, jump is circle, and you're like, what? The fuck is jump? Like, why is that jump?
A, B, X, Y.
Yeah, like, why is that the button for jump? No one does that. You're just trying to be difficult. We're like, nah, we're holding out. This is what we do. We've done it for 40 years and we're not changing. Fuck you.
Like, I've been getting my wife into Xbox games after she finished Spiritfarer.
Right.
And so she's moved on to, I'm like, well, we've got like she's exclusively playing on the TV these days. She was playing Switch in handheld mode when she was playing Stardew Valley, but too many Switch games don't allow you to increase the size of the text. And if you can't increase the size of the text, you can't read it. She's got like vision impairment. And so she plays on TV where she can read it. And Xbox. I'm like, well, we've got Xbox and that's on the TV. If you're playing all on TV, then why don't we just get you playing that? We've got, Game Pass Ultimate. Why don't we get you to play on that? But go from the Switch, which has its own layout of A, B, X, Y, to the Xbox, which has a different layout of them, has been mildly confusing for her. I don't even think.
Yeah.
Like it's automatic for me. The insistence. I think it's a Japanese thing, eh? The insistence on putting jump on the circle where the circle button would be.
Yeah.
So fucking aggravating. Just put it at the fucking bottom of the diamond. God damn it.
The other thing that that gets me, something that I noticed really quickly, and it happened with Tony Hawk, was the x-axis? No, the y-axis was inverted. And I noticed that like immediately, I'm like, why the fuck is this inverted? This doesn't make any sense. Who is the crazy person? Unless it was just my game, but I immediately was like, why am I looking at the ground? Like I'm trying to look up here and it doesn't work properly. But yeah, generally like controls are normally pretty easy, especially on PC where I can jump in and I generally map the same sort of buttons to what I'm used to. Like that sort of stuff is pretty easy. It's when you get into games on console, like a Dark Souls or something, and you play a game that's similar, but they're similar types of games, but the buttons are a bit different. Like, their attack button is the block button, or like their heavy attack is the light attack, and you got to try and figure that out. But generally, it doesn't take too long. I've been playing games for a long time, so yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Is that it? Is that the questions?
That's it. Good question, Fridge Monster Man. Good question, Frisco, even though you didn't address Luke and he's very offended.
No, definitely.
I believe it is time to watch some basketball.
Yeah, let's wrap this up. You can find us on iTunes, Android, Windows Store, Spotify, YouTube, all the places you get podcasts from. Please rate and review the show. Helps other people find us. If you do want to send us questions, you can email us, thegapodcast@gmail.com, or you can go to our Discord page at thegapodcast.com/Discord. We got a channel in there where you can leave questions or just generally chat about random things that are going on. We got voice channels in there where you can jump in and play games. It's usually popping off at night, playing random things. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/thegapodcast, twitter.com/thegapodcast. Go to our YouTube page, thegapodcast.com/YouTube, and you watch the video of the show up on our YouTube page. It's usually just us chatting and some game footage at the top whenever we can get some in there. But otherwise, you can go to our website, thegapodcast.com. It's got links to all the things we just talked about on the show, including past episodes. If you want to go check out some of those. And every once in a while we put other things on there. But that is all thanks to our Patreon members who help support the show. They help pay the bills and keep the website running and the podcast going. If you would like to do that, you can go to patreon.com/the GA podcast and become a member. Get the podcast a day earlier, which is
exciting. First of all, we're extremely grateful. Second of all, why is you like saying it like really like
I'm out of breath.
Right. Yeah, you fucking trying to get it all out in one breath so you can go watch the basketball.
Yeah, we're 2 minutes over.
Oh my god. It doesn't start. It hasn't even started.
It started last time on time. Like
I've never seen a basketball game start on time.
It started on Saturday on time because we were watching it and I was like, oh, it won't, at 6 o'clock it normally starts, and it started like at 6 o'clock. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This is crazy. Anyway, you can find me on twitter.com/Lawrie, Lawrie. And what are you doing? What are you doing this week, Joab? Anything exciting?
Nothing this week. I think maybe on OzGamers, my review of the MSI B550 mag Tomahawk. The MSI mag B550 Tomahawk motherboard should be up, but I think it's up this week. Otherwise, I think I got a commission to review NBA 2K21, so I will be playing a bit more of that, and that will go up at some point as well.
Cool.
But yeah, otherwise that's it. Thanks for listening.
That's a show. We'll be back next week with some Star Wars Squadrons.
Fuck yeah. And FIFA, I think.
Oh, yeah, just brought us way down.
Bye.